everybody, welcome to the Improv Summit. As always, I'm your host, Spencer, and with me today, I have none other than the magnificent, the wonderful, gracious George. See what I did there? I did the first adjective and then the first letter and made it work. So how's it going, George?
Hi, I'm doing very well. How are you, Spencer?
I'm good. I'm good. By the time this airs, Fringe will have been long gone, but both of us just did Fringe, and I'm still recovering as of a week after Fringe ended, to making sure that I can sleep and get stuff done and like just recuperate. How is it for you?
I had quite an overwhelming whirlwind on my final day, actually, because on the last day of my run happened to coincide with the screening of the new movie that I'm in on the same.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that's out now. Because even now it's still
I
playing.
had to race after I was done with my final show of Experiencing Love on the Spectrum to be over in Beverly Hills by 3 o'clock for a screening of Saving Paradise, which is currently out now, available to stream on Amazon and iTunes, and it's also on all the on-demand services, including Comcast and Spectrum.
Great.
It's everywhere to stream. Google Play, Vudu, Apple TV. It's everywhere. Xbox.
Yeah.
Anywhere you stream or on demand, that's where it is.
Yeah, and we'll link that down in the comments and the description below, so you can just click on it and go watch the movie. It's getting pretty good reviews, from what I can tell.
Yeah, I mean, I got some good notices from some different reviews for Saving Paradise, and what I'm really proud about this movie is that it's a modern day Frank Capra movie. It reminds you of the best of our humanity. We need more stories like this now more than ever because of how divided we are as a country. And it's just a story about a small town, a community of people coming together to try to save their beloved pencil factory, which is the backbone of their economy. So it's just a wonderful movie about community and coming together and all for one, one for all, putting all of our differences aside, because it doesn't matter whether you're black or white, man or woman, gay or straight, Democrat or Republican, we all come together in this to solve something bigger than you and I. So that's why I'm very proud to be a part of it. And I've had some critics definitely list me as the standout or one of the standouts in the movie, so that was really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. All that buzz. Speaking of, I want to dive into our first question, but I actually want to just finish this up because we've been talking about this movie. Do you have any other plugs or pitches you want to share? We'll just do the plugs and pitches question first, because why not change it up on this show?
Saving Paradise is out now. That's my main thing that I'm promoting. Experiencing Love on the Spectrum was blessed to get nominated for 2 Fringe Awards, but unfortunately I walked away empty-handed this time, and sadly I didn't get an encore or an invite to extend, but I will be back. I just applied to Solo Fest in 2022. I might apply to Frigid Fest in New York City because those applications just opened up. And yeah, Megan and I, my director, are probably going to have a meeting soon to debrief and just figure out. She got some notes, and I'm all for making the show better. So
great. Awesome. Yeah, take a look, and if you get a chance to check out Experiencing Love on the Spectrum, please do. It was a great show. Really relatable for, I think, a broad audience. Even though it's specific to you and your story, there's a lot of elements that dealing with love. I mean, like literally dealing with love and dating. It's a very common thing. Most people do it. And again, like you said, no matter what your background is, it really is helpful for the general population to kind of see what you experience with all of your different factors, what I experience with all my different factors, and we all experience love in different ways, but it's a universal idea of the concept of love. And so I think that it's a great show. You should check it out. Because maybe you can get an extension at some point from somewhere, or do something, put it back up, revamp it, do some different things. So that's exciting. Which I want to talk about that in a little bit later on, but let's start with like the basics, because I'm just so excited to talk to you, and I forgot to like have you talk about like your literal background in improv, because I've just been going and like I'm like ready to just dive in. But tell me a little bit about your background in improv. That's whatever that means to you.
Well, I started to learn about improv when I was in high school. I used to take summer acting programs in Philadelphia during summers off from school. So one summer I did Walnut Street Theater's acting program. Another summer I did University of the Arts in Philadelphia, and it was great. I lived in Fort Washington with my family, so I would just take the train into Philadelphia every day, do my classes, and then take the train back home. And those would be my summer acting programs. And I did those when I was 16 and 17. And that was when I started to learn about the basics of improv in terms of there's no script and you have to wing it and go with the flow and you have to work off of what your scene partner or other people in the scene are giving you. And so I got some of the basics there. I didn't really start to dive deep into improv until my acting class, actually, my first one. I mean, yes, that, as I've said in both of my one-man shows, that acting class was a cult. But I can't completely diminish everything about it because I did learn a lot from it in my 5 years
Sure.
there. And that was the moment I fell in love with improv. When I was in high school doing those improv exercises, they kind of scared me. They kind of intimidated me a little. But and also my college had an improv troupe, and I did go to one of their shows, and I loved it. But I never pursued it because I heard they were really cliquey, and I don't like
Mm.
cliquey people.
Sure.
So that kind of like veered me away because I heard that they were very cliquey, and so I didn't pursue it any further. Although in hindsight, I kind of wish I did. But oh well, college is done
Mhm.
now. But
Yeah.
where I really fell in love with it while I was still in college was when I was in my acting class because my teacher had this scenario that she would set up where we were all couples in a ski resort, just
Mm.
sitting down talking to each other. And I would always take the opportunity to raise the stakes. So my acting teacher would pair up men with women to play different couples. And so, and we had this exercise that went for, I forget if it was 2 weeks or 3 weeks, but it was every Wednesday, the same group of people would get up and build on the scene. And so I just remember really raising the stakes every time I got a shot. Like, I came up with the scenario that one of the other guys in one of the other couples was my father,
Mm.
that he was just there with his hooker because the woman he was with was much younger than him. So I said she was, and then the wife I was with, it was discovered that I impregnated another girl. So then I turned to my wife and said, "Well, you can't have children anyways. So we'll
Oh,
just raise the
wow.
other one." So I always found a way to raise the stakes, and
Yeah.
that was when I personally, as an artist, fell in love with improv because I was able to take the scenes and elevate them with ideas that I had in my head.
I love that. I love that. You kind of touched on it a little bit, but I want to know why do you love improv? Why do you love improv? What makes you want to talk about it, want to do it? What do you love about improv?
Well, improv, if you really do think about it, is really a great metaphor for life.
Mm.
Life is already unpredictable as it is, and you're never fully sure or certain what life is going to throw at you. And I think with improv you just learn, okay, I'm in a scene with somebody, this is what they're giving me, I got to give it back. And obviously, when I got to the groundlings, that was when I learned even further about improv because I did my acting class from 2009 to 2014. I was there from 20 to 25. And then after I left, I really wanted to go and study at the groundlings. And that was when I learned even more of the basics. But I would really say that improv is life. You never know what's going to get thrown at you, and you still have to go with it.
Mm.
All
That's
play
great.
along until the day we all leave this planet. We all have to play along in life.
Yeah. Until we all leave this planet and become new beings.
Yeah, whatever's waiting on the other side. But while we're here, we got to go with it.
I'm not gonna even say what I was thinking because they're gonna come after me. Anyway, that being said, I think you know what I mean.
Yes, because I had an acting teacher who did
Yeah,
affiliate herself with that particular religion that we won't bring up so we don't get dinged or sued.
yeah, they're already watching. It's too late. Anyway, anyway, that being said, I like this idea of improv, kind of imitating life in a way. And it brings up to me how life experience is really important for improv. And so, one thing for me as someone with a visual impairment, having a disability that kind of makes some things in improv a little bit more difficult as far as adapting for my own personal needs. Is there anything with improv that you feel like improv is super accessible because of this, or where improv could maybe become more accessible for people that have any specific needs or different ways of incorporating improv into their skill set?
Well, I mean, it's kind of funny you bring that up, and I might touch on this in my third one man show once that day comes. I mean, I already have an idea for what I want to do because the
Sure.
first one was about my upbringing and coming out. The second one was about being out. So I think once I get married and find somebody, that'll be the third and final show. It'll be like a
Sure.
trilogy.
Yeah.
And I would probably I might talk about this in my next show because doing the groundlings and their training program was actually really difficult for me as a person on the autism spectrum
Mm.
because obviously me being on the autism spectrum, I am somebody who is a planner. I like to, have like a schedule and a routine and things I do at a specific time. So when you're being put up on stage with either one or two other people unsure of what's to come,
Hmm.
it can be nerve-wracking when you're on the autism spectrum because you like to have things clearly mapped out for you.
Hmm.
So doing the groundlings was definitely like a crash course in improvisation because when you're up there, you got to go and you got to be fast and you got to be quick. And of course, that was when I learned the cardinal rule of improv, which is never say no,
Hmm.
always yes, and always say yes. Because I failed one of my finals, and there's two levels in the groundlings. There's basic and there's intermediate, and then if you pass both of them, you get to go on to advanced. It's a long, arduous trek to make it to the main company of the
Hmm.
groundlings that I didn't even get close. So after intermediate, I was dismissed from the program. But during basic, I was doing this scene with a girl and she was talking about my mother because we were playing a married couple, but then I denied her information by saying she doesn't hate you. And
Mm.
so that derailed the scene and any kind of momentum. And I knew after that day, even though it was my second try at basic, I knew he wasn't going to pass me because I just completely botched it. So when I went into basic for my third and final try after that, because they only allow you 3 times, and I did talk about this in my previous one man
Yeah, I remember.
Magic 8 Ball, I made a promise to myself where no matter what, the number one priority is just to listen and to learn and to have fun.
Hmm.
Because when I went into the groundlings, like most people, I had high expectations. I was like, I want to get through the program. I want to do the writing workshops. I want to get Sunday Company. I want to get Main Company. I want to get discovered by Lauren Michaels and be on SNL. I mean, I had all those wild and crazy dreams, like most people do when they
Hmm.
the groundlings, and I was no exception to the rule. And of course, I would love to be on SNL, whether it's a guest host or a rep. I don't care. I would love to be on SNL one day. But anyways, but I made that promise to myself that I was just going to listen, learn, and have fun. I wasn't going to be focused on passing. I wasn't going to be focused on the results because that's really what screwed me during my second try. Was I got way too results oriented. So when
Hmm.
I went in with that cardinal promise to myself that I was just going to have fun and look, if I get dismissed, I get dismissed. If I don't, I don't. And he passed me on the third try. And I was able to go on and take intermediate another 3 times. And then after the third and final try, even though I had gotten better at improvisation, I mean, my final teacher sat me down and she was like, look, here's the problem with you. You are really good at improv. You have great information. You know how to do a beginning, a middle, an end. You're really good at improvisation, but you don't do characters the way Groundlings likes characters. Because Groundlings has a very specific thing they like for their characters. They like the characters to be larger than life, but still grounded in some form of reality. The example they love to give is anybody you would run into at a 7-Eleven. So they have a very specific thing, and I tried to do that. But the problem was, it's like, well, I'm a white guy who likes to sing R&B and gospel, and I have Asperger's, and I'm queer. I'm enough of a character as it is. It's kind of hard to, build other characters for me personally, because I felt like, well, I'm enough of a character as myself.
Yeah, and I haven't done Groundlings because I'm scared, because I'm not great with characters. Like I take character classes, I work on characters, but a lot of them are just heightened versions of things that I fixate on. And so it's like, I love theme parks, so I have a guy who used to work at a theme park, and he talks like this, but it's not like a really it's like not an unrational character, and so it's like it feels like it's just me talking with a different dialect.
Well, I mean, I have to use my kind of surroundings that I grew up with too. Like, for instance, I just did this short film earlier this year called Dean Sugarbaker. And I played a hunter, and I put on a Southern accent, and I played a squirrel hunter because how the story goes is my character was somebody who hunts squirrels and he's like the squirrel whisperer because he can talk to them telepathically. And so I just decided, you know what? I lived in the South for 10 years. I lived in Virginia. I know hunters. I can do the Southern accent. I was watching a lot of Designing Women at the time, so I thought Sugarbaker would be a great last name to use for the character. And so that was, and I thought of the name Dean, and I was like, there we go. This character's name is Dean Sugarbaker.
That's great.
That was a whole character that I came up with. And that was obviously not myself, but I was able to take stuff that I knew and stuff that was surrounding me throughout my life and channel it into that one character. So I feel like I've gotten better at characters, but a lot of it still comes from my own personal experiences and elements of life.
That's great. And I think it also leads into my last question, because, I mean, maybe Groundlings isn't the place that you and I would excel in, but there are people, like, if characters are your jam and characters are your thing, like, that is the place for you to go, is Groundlings. Like, if you can really knock out characters and do the specific character choices that company requires, then who's saying that you can't excel, in that, if that's your thing. Like, you've got RIP, which was very much like relationship based. You have UCB, which is game heavy. You've got Impro, which is narrative. These are specific to the LA area now that I'm thinking about it. But anywhere in general, they all have their own different kind of philosophy or their different style. And there are some styles that, like, I went to programs and I was like, I want to go through as many programs as I can. I walked into, like, I would say not the 101 classes, but the 201, the level 2 classes of most programs, going, I like this, or this is not the program for me. And I did that based on the style of things that I like and the way that if we want to talk about, like, adaptability and accessibility, the way that I process information is going to be different than the way that everyone else processes information in that class. And so if I was able to understand and process the information in a way that worked for me, then that was a place that I genuinely felt like I liked, which leads me into this final question. Because there's so much improv everywhere, and even now on a lot of online improv, you can kind of have improv access literally anywhere in the world. But sometimes it can be overwhelming. So, in the past, I've had people who are like, Spencer, you take a lot of improv. Where should I take improv? And for me, it's hard for me to answer that question because of what we were just talking about with, like, do you want to do characters? Do you want relationship? Do you want game? Do you want funny? Do you want realistic? Do you want dramatic? What do you want as far as improv? And so I leave it to the people that I have on this show to kind of give me their thoughts on this. And so if someone came up to you and said, where should I take improv? What would be one piece of advice or one tip you'd give to help guide them on their improv journey?
Well, I mean, coming from somebody who took intermediate 3 times, and even though I didn't get better at characters, I did get better at improvisation because I did take intermediate 3 times and I was constantly working at it. So I did get more relaxed on stage and better with information and better with saying yes and not derailing any scene I was in by the time I got to the third class.
Yeah, exactly.
So I always say to people, practice, of course, practice makes perfect. But I always come at things from a career perspective, obviously, because being an actor and moving all the way from Pennsylvania to pursue this, of course, I want to try to make a living out of this lovely thing we have called show business. So the main advice I would give to people is there used to be 4 main programs in Los Angeles if SNL was what you were working towards. Sadly, we lost one of those. We no longer have Improv Olympic West. That is unfortunately gone. So now there's 3. You have the Groundlings, you have UCB, and you have Second City Hollywood. Now, I have been recommended by people, stay away from Second City Hollywood. It is treated like the bastard stepchild of the Second City schools, even though Bill Hader came from there. It's still treated like the bastard stepchild. So it's like, if you really want to do Second City, you go to Chicago. But for Groundlings versus UCB, yeah, I would say to people, look, if characters is your thing, if you want to dress up as other characters, Groundlings. I've never done UCB personally myself. I've seen shows at UCB, and it just seems like they go for more games versus characters, at least with all the UCB shows I've seen. And I've only seen graduation shows from classes. I've never seen one of their teams. Because with the Groundlings, you work your way up in the program, and then you either make the main company or Sunday company, or you don't. And that's the end of the line for you. Whereas Second City Hollywood and UCB, you can go through all the training, but then you either make one of the teams or you don't. And with Groundlings, it's like the best of the best, and they only give you 3 tries with each class. When you get up to advanced, you only get 2 tries. When you get up to all the writers' labs, 1 and done. And so it's a lot more cutthroat as you move up the ladder in Groundlings. Whereas I'm not sure how the hierarchy at UCB or Second City Hollywood goes in terms of how many times you're allowed to take the classes. I don't know how that works, but if you're more into games and using yourself, then yeah, I would recommend UCB to somebody. I would consider UCB myself personally, but after I finished the Groundlings in 2015, I started writing my one-man show in 2016, and 2017 I put up Magic 8 Ball, and the rest is history. I learned through the Groundlings, okay, if I can't do characters, if I'm better as just myself, then I'm going to use myself in my one-man show. I'm not, I'm going to just use myself. And Magic 8 Ball was really what started my career, because after Magic 8 Ball, I won the 2 Fringe Awards, and then I got to extend, and then I got a new agent, and then I did Edinburgh, and then I did a movie, I did a guest star. Just everything really started to fall into place, but that was because of Magic 8 Ball. But where did Magic 8 Ball originate from? All my experiences, whether it was my acting cult or the Groundlings.
Yeah.
And, one of the great things about the Groundlings is I got so comfortable with improvisation, and I've done this with both of my one-man shows now. I don't completely stick to my script for my one-man show. Sometimes I will blank, I will forget where I am, and I have to improvise until I find my way back. But the beauty about all the training I had is the audience would never know, because I improvised my way back to it.
That's always the key, for sure. George, thanks so much for being here on the Improv Summit. This was so much great information. I did say that was the last question for you, but as always on this show... Sorry, what?
I'm happy to keep talking. So.
Oh yeah, no, I was gonna say, but I'm a liar on the show always, and that's never the last question I have. I do have one more question, and that question is, we've been talking a lot about improv. You want to do some improv?
I would love to.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Hey, Ray, we are going to do some improv, and wow, it's in person. Wow, what is that? Oh my gosh, no way.
What a time we're in.
What a treat. All right, so we are going to dive in. George, we're going to get either a suggestion of a location, a relationship, or a word. Which one would you like?
I will go with location.
Location, all right. The suggestion is 90s Music Festival.
Place I would want to be.
Which is so perfect for this situation and for this guest. So this is very exciting. All right, let's do it.
Oh, baby, 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 baby. I love TLC. I'm so glad they're on right now.
Crazy, Sexy, Cool. That's what they are. That's for sure.
Yeah. That was a great album.
Oh, my favorite. They had Creep.
Oh, yeah. So
Waterfalls.
I creep. Don't go chasing waterfalls.
There was a Blue Light Special, which I never knew.
Red Light Special.
Oh, Red Light Special. It's because in a Goofy movie, there was a Blue Light Special. And they both came out in the 90s around the same time. So I just got them mixed up.
Both 95.
Really?
Yes, both came out in 95.
Wait,
Crazy Sexy Cool was yeah, I think it was 90.
Was it earlier?
I think Crazy Sexy Cool was 94, but then Goofy Movie was 95. Yes.
Oh, cuz Ooh on the TLC tip was 92.
Yes.
That's what it was.
I think Crazy Sexy Cool was 94.
So wait, hold on. So 92 was TLC on the tip.
Ooh on the TLC.
Ooh on the TLC tip.
Yep.
94 is Crazy Sexy Cool. But then did they not have anything until Fan Mail?
Yeah, Fan Mail was 99.
Oh, 99. And then the new millennium, they had 3D.
Yep, 2002.
They only have 4 albums? Well, I guess they only
5.
could.
They did have a TLC album that came out in 2017 through Kickstarter, but that was with just, T-Boz and Chili. That was their only album without any Left Eye on
Lisa, though, she did have an album. Do you remember
Supernova. 2001.
Block Party had so many different versions of that song. Even though it's the 90s, we already know that she had an album in 2 years, 3 years.
Supernova was 2001, yep.
Yeah, this is information that I never thought I would ever need in my life. I guess at a 90s festival, I guess what else can you expect? It's like the Woodstock of the millennium.
Oh yeah, and I can't wait. Sheryl Crow is going to be coming out next.
She's going to soak up the sun, but you know, that was obviously a little bit later than the 90s.
2002.
You know what my favorite song of hers is, though?
What is your favorite song?
All I want to do is have some fun. That's what we're doing right now. Get ready to do that
one right now.
We're going to have some fun.
Until the sun goes up on the Santa Monica Boulevard.
Is that the same song?
Yeah. Until the sun comes
up. Oh, yeah, and then soak up the sun.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I haven't heard that song in so long.
As a lot if it makes you happy.
Yeah, but isn't that a remake?
I'm not sure.
I think it's a remake from someone. Maybe it's not. I don't know. The remake was in the 90s. It doesn't really matter. You know what else I love?
What else?
I'll tell you. I think it came out in 2000. Maybe it was 99. No Strings Attached. That's like the
2000.
That is the best album. I have that on CD still.
Oh yeah. Bring in the noise. Bring down the house. We
digital
get down. Come on. Let's raise the roof.
This is amazing.
And of course, the 90s song that got them, they're going to be, actually 4 of them are coming up on stage.
Oh, 4? Only 4?
Minus Justin Timberlake couldn't make it, but they'll all be coming out to do You're All I Ever Wanted.
Wait, was that their first single?
Yes.
I totally thought it was Tearing Up My Heart, but it's
their second one.
Was I Want You Back on the CD?
Yes.
The NSYNC CD? I have that CD somewhere too.
Tell me what to do now.
That's so funny.
Because I want you back.
Quit playing games. There's no way that was...
Boys.
I know. I got that one. I was just trying to make
all 5 of them will be at this festival. They got everybody.
Yeah, they sure will. With their kids, too.
Yes.
All their kids. You know, they're really popular on TikTok.
Good to know.
And scene. Thanks so much for coming to the Improv Summit. As always, I'm your host, Spencer. That's George. See you next time. Bye.